Hello and welcome to this video about sequence drawing. Sequence drawing is an art form which uses series of images as a means of communication. This can be with or without the support of words. They could depict comic strips or a set of instructions having step-by-step illustrations. Let's see some basic steps involved in sequence drawing. First, we come up with a plot or a storyline. The plot can either be comic or have a social message. Next comes character design, wherein their expressions and actions are also created. Deciding which action frames are to be included is an important part of the planning. Here, you can see the same storyline is represented in different number of frames. From the above example, we can understand more clearly the power of good timing in a comic. The first shows a simple action, whose result is immediate, in seconds, whereas the second set shows the same, but the result frame is only extended to enhance emotion. The number of frames can also be specified in the question. While drawing the boxes for the frames, keep in mind the aspect ratio of each frame. The number of columns and rows can be varied for the desired aspect ratio when the number of frames increases. You can also try frames with uneven sizes, in cases where certain scenes look better in landscape while others look more natural in portrait. Experiment with different types of boxes. But keep in mind the general reading order, top to bottom, left to right. In case you bring any variation here, make sure to number the boxes in order or show directional arrows. Dialogues between characters can be depicted in speech bubbles. There are different types of speech bubbles used for different kinds of dialogues. This is what we could use normally. The off-frame dialogue is used when the actor's speaking character is outside the visible frame. A speech bubble with a dotted border indicates a whisper. Cloud-like bubbles can be associated with the character's thoughts. When the character is shouting or screaming, this kind of speech bubble with pointed ends can be used. This kind of speech bubble with a lightning bolt-like end is used when the sound is coming from a transmitter like a TV or a phone. These speech bubbles are often used to depict sound effects, such as when a car speeds by or when two objects collide. To understand the remainder concepts in sequence drawing, we will have a look at few examples. In this question, we have to depict the landing of a plane. Pay attention to all details involved in each and every step of the landing, such as the seatbelt notification, as you can see in the first frame. Always try to show the scene in as many interesting angles as possible. Like in this case, we can see the view from the seat window, cabin, close-ups of the actions, and zoomed out views showing where the scene is taking place. The first frame of a comic strip can be utilized for showing a thumbnail along with a title. Notice how the nervous expression of the potato in the second frame is shown, with dotted lines around the potato. In the fourth frame, a faint background is shown to communicate to the reader that the scene is taking place in a kitchen. If you want to show more action in a frame, you can always split that particular frame in two, as you can see in the seventh frame. In this question, we have to depict an interesting story involving two men, a cat, and an umbrella. This example shows how to put emphasis in certain parts of the scene. In the second frame, to show that the cat and umbrella are the most important parts of the scene, they both have a golden glow around them. Also, the rest of the image is black and white. In the fifth frame, anger is depicted. You can see that the background is a radial pattern in red, keeping in mind the color psychology. The interesting thing to note in this example is that it is done without using any speech bubbles. Only captions are used. Have a look at the caption of the fourth frame. Obviously, there is no machine that converts oil to gold. However, if you do a creative interpretation like this, compared to showing the reality, could fetch you more marks. This question asks us to depict a scene of a mother trying to pacify her child. Remember that in a sequence drawing, along with having a comic element, you can also convey a social message. The question here says to show the steps taken to frame a photo. In these kind of questions, try to show as many frames as possible to completely understand the procedure. Observe the attention to details. The pencil stand in the second frame is also seen in the fourth frame. This is obvious, however, you can easily miss this while drawing a comic strip under time constraints. In a similar way, see how the elements like the sofa and the plant remain the same in the fifth and sixth frame, showing that both the scenes are taking place in the same room. This is another example of the same type of question. Alright, that's it for this video. See you in the next one.